I am Dyflin in the Dyflin campaign on legendary difficulty from Thrones of Britannia. I find this game reasonably immersive and also a lot of fun. At the moment I'm sinking a lot of time into it, so we have a war now going on. If you remember, we had finished conquering Lygin. We're on our way to Vedrafjord and Visafjord. These two factions have left their provinces, their home provinces. They've gone over to Wales to fight Duet. And so here is Visafjord. Our king is in Ferna at the moment with our army.
We'll see this through.
And he's gone up to the border. He can hopefully go into a fortified stance here and continue retraining his men who suffer from attrition for having to walk on foot rather than sail. And here is our secondary army. We might need our secondary army, which, okay, initially I was hoping it would be just there to guard our backs.
The sea awaits.
And so here are our two senior royals, Sigfroder, the king's brother, who is the regent or heir at the moment. And here is Duet. You can see we are now at war with Duet. Duet still controls two provinces there. And here is Ivar, who is the son, the elder son of our king. He is also hanging out here.
Head for the horizon.
And so they can reinforce now each other. And we have a little bit of money. We can probably do something with it. Potentially start building this logging camp, maybe. It will give us decreased cost for building things around our provinces. We have a Viking port here, possibility for lower public order. That's not a very good prospect. We can get a fishing wharf for some cattle herds here. Here's the Isle of Man. We can also get cattle pens on the Isle of Man, but they're more expensive. We can get this guardhouse, which is an upgrade on the patrols building, but it just gives you just an extra unit for 10 upkeep. That's all it gives you. I'm not sure that's cost effective. I'd rather have an extra unit out in the field, a unit of my choice, rather than one stuck in a settlement for 10 food. I can't make up my mind. I think I can save the money, potentially. And here's Sigtrygr in Dyflin. Oh, governor.
The fleet stands ready.
Okay, we can keep the money in the bank. And we're now on to the summer of 882. Lenderborg, one of the Danelaw factions in England, has been destroyed.
Enemy blood will flow.
That sounds good, my good Viking. We have even more money to spend now. So we can probably get something here. We have very many options here. Many good options, even. It's Church of the Oak. That sounds interesting. Was that a saint? A Viking saint? Okay, we can get the patrols. That's always useful. So it gets +1 in public order. 4 units to reinforce the garrison. And 50% decrease in enemy movement through this very large province of Lygin. That sounds good.
The sea awaits.
And time to check the situation with the 2 other Viking Sea King factions, Vedrafjord and Visafjord. So Vedrafjord first. It would be nice to have a declaration of friendship, but they find it insulting. I don't want them to go to war on the side of Visafjord, because they are currently allies. That's a risk we're facing. And because they don't want to have to become friends with us, even though they're on green, that's definitely a risk. So perhaps this army under Finnkel, which was meant initially to guard our backs, will have to head our way down here. Just in case the situation gets out of hand. The Sword King is now off his fortified stance. He can now march to lay siege on Visafjord.
Ready, oarsman.
And I'm not sure what to do with these 2 solitary generals.
Rowers, forward.
They have good bodyguards with
The
them.
fleet stands ready.
They could potentially help us in the siege of Visafjord.
You can rely on us.
That's good to hear. Declare war. Visafjord, what do you say about this? So, the possibility for Vedrafjord joining them is there.
Ready to oppose you.
And they did not join them. I'm so lucky. Perhaps because we contacted them and asked for friendship? Or maybe they are very weak or something? I guess there must be a reason for it. But they didn't join their allies, so they've broken their alliance. So the other 2 Sea King factions have broken their alliance. We can lay siege. Now, unfortunately, the odds are even.
Smash them.
And although the enemy has very weak units, so yes, we're at war with Visafjord. The enemy has a lot of units, for some reason, lots and lots of units, but they're very weak. Nonetheless, the odds are even because they're fortified. And Ziktrigar, our brother's son, is unhappy and disloyal. So let's see if... no. We found him a potential bride, but she will increase even further the loyalty to the point he will rebel. He will rebel about this bride we found for him. So we have to find something else. We don't have enough money for any other of these actions. We don't care about lowering his influence, we want to improve his loyalty. We cannot do it, we're not going to appoint him as an heir. So hopefully you have estates to give him. Okay, we have Antinbermore. We have not distributed all our estates, so he can get Antinbermore. He's only 16 years old. Oh, spoiled teenager.
We'll pledge our service.
Okay, the Blood Eagles are on the way. That's why they want blood to be spilled.
Longships aye.
Our captain. I like the Vikings
Fall ahead.
in the sense they've been made in such a way and fun to play with. I mean, all the factions seem interesting. There are a lot of alternatives, different things you can do, different types of victory conditions, and different types of armies. And I have a feeling every time you're gonna play this campaign, it's gonna develop totally differently. Okay, so you can get a cattle herd potentially here. Brine Spring is not a good idea, lowers public order. So does the mine. Fishing wharf. Takes 8 game turns to be built. Maybe there's something in Ligin. More cattle herds. More expensive. For some reason. We need to upgrade our logging camp to get cheaper buildings here. Grange will lower public order, we don't have money for it anyway. The Royal Hall will lower public... well, we don't have money for it, just eat up food. So we'll get those cattle pens in 6 game turns. So how's the situation here in Duet? So these are the other 2 Viking King factions. There is the Fury of Tyr, Vedrafjord army. Has 11 units, they're still being recruited, or perhaps they had a fight with Vasafjord. Vasafjord has a full stack in totally trained, full numbers, green. So that's troublesome if they head our way. So we definitely need to gather all our forces down here in Vasafjord. I'm also worried that those 2 royals here are a little bit exposed, Ivar and Sigfrodo. Sigfrodo is already heading back this way.
Landfall ahead. We're about to dock.
We don't want them to be caught out at sea by that huge Vasafjord army. And they can also help out with upkeep. They have upkeep bonuses. Okay, that was the end of the summer of 882. Fingale has been destroyed as a faction. We're moving on to the summer of 882. Sorry, we're moving on to the autumn of 882. So we're left with Ivar here. Finnkel with reinforcements has now reached Ferna. They can potentially recruit units here, up to 2 more units. I'm not sure I want the spearmen. I don't think our rival Viking Sea Kings are going to come up with cavalry. I think they're bringing other axemen and spearmen with them, so we probably should get axemen. So, the long axis and the middle axis.
Head for the horizon.
The eastern axemen.
You ask the impossible.
Okay, so we'll get those 2 royals on to dry land, so don't risk being attacked at sea by the Vasafjord army that's gonna come our way, almost certainly. Okay, let's see how this develops. We are on legendary, so anything could happen. Western Nass has been destroyed as a faction. Duet has died out. Oh yeah, I thought they were doing well. Ice and Snow. Okay, Rongenvald has gained a good trait. Defensive tactics have finished. We can start something else. Offensive tactics. Now we've got defensive tactics under our belt.
Enemy blood will flow. Now we'll see.
Okay, so
You ask the impossible.
we got our reinforcing army over.
In Odin's name.
So we can now attack and the odds are now in our favor quite clearly, so that's very good. I guess our reinforcements helped or laying siege to the settlement. Varsovia has a decent garrison, but we can still win, so we fight defensively. That will minimize our casualties. A decisive victory. We lost 515 men. I guess that's realistic. And we can occupy.
Success is rewarded.
Yes, it is. So hopefully we gained a little bit of tribute. We're up to 36 tribute. And
Let's go.
Finkel has gained a follower. He can pass some of his depleted units on to our king, especially these expensive ones. And our king can hopefully retrain them a little bit, and he can stay, and also they get lower keep with the king, and he can stay out within reinforcement range. So all looks good for the time being. Varsovia have spawned a general in their last settlement in Ross. Well, it's not their last settlement, it's the last settlement on Ireland. They seem to also have some settlements in Wales, at least 2, possibly 3. Now the problem we have is that in Varsovia they have a lot of buildings that eat up food, and so we have now a food deficit. That's very annoying. So I'm going to merge these 2 spear levy units. Nothing else I can do, and I have to disband one of the spear levies. Not a huge deal. Unfortunately, that's not going to solve our problem. We still have to disband 1 more unit, so I'm going to merge 2 more units. I guess the long axes, they are not that good. So, and then disband this unit. Okay, we're down to 16 units. That's still pretty good, and we're now on positive food, so problem is sorted.
Our foes will suffer.
Yes, they must suffer.
Onward to glory.
So this is Ivar, the son of our king, the other son.
Enemy blood will flow.
Okay, we've got some slave trade going, 2,000 there. Okay, and we can build something here. So many options. Grain pits. Okay, cost 10 minus 10 food production, 549 patrols, no second thinking. So that improves public order, decreases 50% enemy movement in the province. Lygin is a sizable province, as well as 4 units for garrison. So also Finkel has gained a trait of follower, so we can probably give him a quartermaster. That is always a good choice. We have a governor at Varsovia. I'm not too worried at this point. I don't want to have issues with loyalty conflicts at this point. That's probably enough for now for this game turn. It's been a successful game turn of a successful year. So here's the Varsovia army. They are on the way sailing to their homelands. They've reached our shores now. Let's see what they can do. So it's a full army, 20 units in full strength. Oh, Kaiser has gone to war with Federfjord. That's the other faction that we wanted to attack next, potentially. Oh dear. Zigtrigger tracing people. Very, very naughty. Oh dear. He's greedy. So he's gotten some money issue now. Kaiser has gone to war with Federfjord. So Kaiser's a faction to our left. And that small army on our border, we have to do something about it. That one general, Fedra of Azafjord. The other faction across us is also approaching with a strong army, 16 units. So we can exchange some units here. And our solitary general can stay behind. We'll take our king with all the army and capture this place, Ross. We're going to sack it. Eventually it will replenish over time. The building will replenish. Now we have some money. Oh, that's done something to our food situation. It has improved already. That's interesting. Let's occupy. Wow, the food situation is really going up. So this place must have fields or something. So that sounds good. And Finkel will go to Vasafjord and keep an eye on things there.
We serve to the end.
Here's Ivar. He can probably head back towards Nass and Dyflin.
Advancement.
We need a general around here, I think, to keep an eye on things on this side. Fortunately, Mid is not attacking us. You see, there's no armies there. This faction to the north here. And we can build a fishing wharf and some cattle pens. Because we can, we have the money. Especially as Mid is not looking very aggressive at the moment. Or else maybe we can perhaps get this beach market. Wow, that's interesting. A beach market. Right. That doesn't give us huge bonuses, I'm not so sure. At least no public order issues. It's interesting, every time you click or you have selected a church, there's some chanting in the distance. We'll build those cattle pens up there in the north. That area is exposed, but Mid is looking not very aggressive at the moment. So down here we have to deal with this army on our shores. Well, it was their shores, I guess. Now they're ours. Our king is in this settlement, Ras. He cannot attack. Unfortunately, this other general, I was hoping he could attack, he also cannot attack. We have two armies there and they cannot attack this one general. Why is it so difficult? What's down there? So, next game turn. That general has retreated. The main army coming from Wales has landed on dry land. They are on Ireland now. Peterborg and Hyderborg are destroyed. These are Danelaw factions. And what is today? England. One of West Saxon's Welsh vassals declares independence. Okay. It's not one of those. Glyvesig has declared independence from West Wessex. They've taken, it looks like, a good chunk of Wales. Okay, those are few that don't have any allies. That's good. Here's their army. A lot of spearmen. They have some heavy spearmen, but they're depleted. They're getting depleted, so they're suffering from food shortages or something. That's good. And this enemy general has retreated into enemy territory. That enemy army though worries me. So this bordering faction has brought an army to the border. They're going to attack Vedderfield or us, one of the two. Royal Bard has done what? Okay, one of the princes here, good Rodder, one of the family members, he's just come of age. He's 16 years old. A spoiled teenager. Has low loyalty. He is feeling rebellious. Go and find a girlfriend and leave us alone. These spoiled children. Okay, let's give him an estate. We have a spare estate now in Ross. And Rognvald has gained a trait. He's gained a follower. Potentially a forager to help us with the food situation. 5% unit replenishment, 5 plus 5 food production. It could help us at this point. Okay.
We'll see this through.
That's good to hear. And our king can recruit one more unit. Potentially, we have food, we have the money, and we have an enemy who just landed on our shores. There was a woodpecker knocking on a tree, if you could hear it. Okay. These sounds are interesting, these background sounds. All kinds of things, like things being made by blacksmiths or whatever. So we've gotten one of these Eastern Axemen. Now we have 2 units of depleted Eastern Axemen. Okay. We can probably combine them into one. We have one full unit. Well, cost us a lot of money to do this, but now this has freed up another slot, so we can recruit yet another unit. Long axes. They're not the best unit at the moment. Once they get upgrades, they'll be better. They have an armor of 7. They can get an armor of 8 if they're recruited in Dyflin. That's body armor. Let's get some of these Eastern Scouts. They are a nice unit. I like them. We can do a lot with missile cavalry. We also have a shield. That's very nice. Okay, full army.
Enemy blood will flow.
That's the right thing for a Viking to do. Yeah. And we've nearly gone through an hour and a half of this campaign. That's the full campaign that you see so far. Every movement. And I'm hoping to finish it in about 4 hours.
Enemy blood will flow to greater plunder.
Because I have a feeling in this game you can actually finish campaigns in a day if you really concentrate, which is something new. I think it's great. Either I will not reach Dyflin, we have to wait for another game turn. Here's Castle Toon. We can build some... Okay, we can get a cattle herd if we want to here. It's a little bit expensive. Can't get very much in Nass, except we can get this logging camp, which reduces construction cost for all buildings in adjacent provinces, so that's a pretty good one. And here's the situation down south. Zigfrada is in Ferna within 3 months distance to Vasafjord. He can reinforce next game turn if he needs to, or he can recruit some units down there. We haven't assigned a governor in Vasafjord because I'm worried about sort of issues between rivalries and so on, loyalty issues. Here's the enemy army. Again, very kind of interesting looking, some are depleted because of food shortages or money shortages or something. Okay, so that was the end of the summer of 883 and the end of this episode. Thank you for watching.